Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea. What if those moments of intense loneliness, when it feels like God has gone silent, aren't what they seem? What if, instead of being left behind, you're actually being set up for your next big step?
So let's start with a feeling I think pretty much everyone knows. It's that sudden, kind of weird silence. The invitations stop coming, your phone isn't buzzing like it used to, and you get this sinking feeling that maybe the party's happening somewhere else and you weren't invited.
And there's this term for it, being deselected. It's that feeling of being totally invisible, even when you're in a crowd. And in today's world, it's so easy to take that personally, right? To think you've failed somehow, or even that you've been canceled by your own life.
But what if that feeling is a complete misinterpretation? Just look at this contrast. On the left, you've got how it feels, like rejection, like you're being punished. But the source material we're looking at reframes it completely. It suggests this is actually a divine strategy, protection, preparation, and even promotion. Okay, so how in the world do you tell the difference? How do you know if you're being punished or prepared? Well, there are 3 really specific signs that you might just be in a season of transition.
Think of these 3 things as a kind of roadmap. You've got this new irritation, a sudden silence from people you trust, and a big shift in what you want out of life. These are all clues that something much deeper is going on under the surface.
First up, and this one might surprise you, it doesn't actually start with sadness. It starts with a growing sense of irritation. All of a sudden, the things that used to feel comfortable now feel like a cheap suit. It just doesn't fit right anymore. Shallow conversations, drama, gossip, you just have no patience for it. It's not that everyone else changed, you're changing.
And here's the key point. This isn't you just becoming grumpy or negative. The discomfort is on purpose. The idea here is that it's a sifting process. It's designed to make where you are right now so uncomfortable that you're finally willing to let go and move on to what's next.
Okay, let's move on to the second sign. And honestly, this one is often the hardest to get through. It's an overwhelming, profound silence.
This is that moment you reach out for help, for guidance, and you get crickets. The mentors or friends you've always counted on, suddenly they're busy. Doors that were always open seem to be locked shut, and it can even feel like your prayers are just bouncing off the ceiling. This is what the source calls the wilderness protocol, and it's a direct reference to Moses. See, the whole point isn't to abandon you. It's to remove all the other voices, all the other opinions, so you can tune into the one that truly matters. It's about getting you to stop looking left and right for answers and to start looking up.
And all of this leads to the third and final sign. This is where you see the incredible internal work that all this isolation has been producing.
This is when your why, your reason for doing things, gets a total makeover. For instance, maybe you used to want a promotion for the status or the money, but now you find yourself wanting that exact same job, but for a different reason, for the influence you'd have to actually help people. Your motivation shifts from what you can get to what you can give.
This really nails it. Your whole foundation is being renovated. You're moving away from a life built on just seeking security for yourself and toward a life built on a much bigger purpose. And that kind of shift, it's a massive signal that something important is happening inside you.
So that brings us to the big question, right? Why? Why is all this isolation necessary in the first place? Well, there's a fantastic metaphor that explains the whole logic behind this quiet, hidden phase. I mean, think about that. It completely reframes this period of inactivity. What looks like an end, what looks like a tomb from the outside, is actually the site of the most intense, radical transformation on the inside. A caterpillar can't get wings if it stays on the ground, right? It has to go into that cocoon.
This quiet season is basically your training ground. It's where your character is being forged in private so that you have the strength and integrity to handle the weight of your purpose when it finally becomes public.
So, what's the bottom line here? If you feel like you're in that silent season right now, what should you hold on to? Well, this whole idea gets distilled down into one powerful, unforgettable concept. If you feel like you're in the dark, like you're underground and totally cut off from everything, please remember this one critical distinction. You are not being buried.
And that just perfectly captures the promise of this whole process. Because what happens when something is planted in the dark? It is always, always destined for a harvest out in the sun. That silence isn't the end. It's the necessary beginning.
So, we'll leave you with this final thought.
Instead of fighting the loneliness, instead of trying to break the silence, what if you asked a totally different question? Don't ask, why is this happening to me? Instead, start asking, what is this preparing me for?